tell me real quick. Obviously, I apologize. We haven't talked a ton about Liminal Space, but stellar EP.
Thank you.
And it seems to be like consistent with what you made before, but a different sound in a way. And maybe I'm just like overthinking it. And I was like, oh, I listened to them so closely together. It's like, oh yeah, that's just what 3 years does to a band. But for me, it was like, it felt like, okay, no, you're turning over a new leaf, kind of going a slightly different direction. Is that accurate, or is that just me just overthinking?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's an explanation.
Yeah, there's so for Seek, like I mentioned, Connor and I and our previous bass player had already written Seek. And like all those songs were there, that was ready to go. And then we added Alex to the band, and then he just wrote over those songs. Liminal Space is the product of us, like me, Connor, and Alex all writing together. So Alex's influence, bringing it into the writing, like, situation, that's where, like, you're definitely spot on in that feeling. Like, definitely not overthinking it by any means, because Liminal Space is us getting to write with Alex, as opposed to Seek being us already have stuff written and Alex just add his flavor onto it. And so it's a lot more collaborative. So definitely spot on there, no doubt.
That's awesome. And tell me what, like, the best part with Liminal Space, like, because each time you go into a studio, each time you're writing, I'm assuming the experience is slightly different. And obviously this time there was multiple things that were different between COVID, new band members, things like that. What was kind of like the highlight of recording Liminal Space?
Honestly, I don't know. We just had a lot of fun because our audio engineer and producer Eric Bullard at Warlord Studios, he had a much bigger hand in like producing our music this go around. So like obviously all the songs were written and they were very, very, very much so pretty similar to how they are now. But this go around, we let our producer like put a hand in like helping the vocal melodies and like changing things, like tweaking things here or there more so than we have in the past. And it was almost like this whole EP has been a big collaboration. Like the track Interjacent, which is just like that music, like instrumental interlude or whatever between tracks. We had two features on that track. We had our buddy Davis, who he makes music under the name Straw Boy, like hip hop, lo-fi beats and that kind of thing.
Oh, cool.
He helped on that song, and then we also got a buddy of Tyler and Alex. They there was a guy that was in the Louisiana music scene that they knew named Connor Underwood, and he's like an incredible pianist. And
he went to college.
Yeah, he literally went to college.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
he was on that track. So this whole EP was like collaborating. We even brewed a beer with some of our friends that run a brewery in Mississippi.
No way.
Yeah, so we have a Liminal Space beer. I'm actually drinking one right now.
Dude.
Yes, we have a Liminal Space beer that they're selling at that brewery right now. So like the whole EP, also on top of Alex being, this is the first collection of songs that we wrote collaboratively with our new guitar player. So like it just added to the whole idea of this whole thing being a big collaboration, like getting our producer to have his hand in it more. And so that really like added some flavor to our songs that we haven't really had in the past. And I think we really all are happy with how that.
Yeah, no, most definitely. That would definitely be a highlight for myself as well. I definitely agree.
Heck yeah. And just curious as well, what kind of like, obviously it's positive, so we'll get that out of the way, but what kind of things does Alex bring to the table that make it different, right? Like what is it that Alex did that took it to this next level for you guys?
If I had to put words on it, or words to it, however you phrase that, Alex and I come from like similar listening history, sort of, but again, like I said, he also listens to like a lot more prog, like rock and stuff like that. And it's not that adding the addition of prog rock to the song is what made the difference. It's that with the influences that he has on his own, and that also he and I share as guitar players, he just brings a level of originality to the table that that for one, I just love and enjoy can I name drop your other thing? He also has a side project called Kazi, Kasi, and that he just so whenever he's writing stuff, he's had this for a while, but whenever he's writing stuff for Inside Voices or just writing in general, if it's a lick that wouldn't necessarily fit us, he has his own little solo project he does called Kazi, and you can go listen to that, and you can hear the influence in there. But circling back to the point, it's just being able to write with somebody who appreciates a level of originality and technicality mixed in with just like a desire to want to do this. He's also got 7 years experience on playing guitar than I do, but
but yeah, Alex is old.
Alex is an old man, and
hey, I'm 31, so I'm feeling that. Don't be throwing the old guys under the bus, all right?
He's got to be.
Yep. That's and so with that, yeah, because I don't know, Connor and I butted heads quite a bit about adding another guitar player to the band before we got Alex, and because he and I had something so Connor and I had something so consistent for a while that I didn't want to risk finding a friend to join the band and then it not working out and it making things weird, but also like in the most non-selfish way I can say this, and I know Connor is similar to me on this. I just like having creative control. And so I didn't want to deal with being in this band for the amount of years we've been doing it and somebody come in and not that they couldn't add anything, of course, but try to change stuff. And I didn't want to risk like that being the case to like an extreme level. But then, we ended up, as we said earlier, joking around with adding Alex into the mix. And Alex and I, jammed together a couple of times. And as I said, we have similar influences and everything. And so, writing with him now is a blast because we can either just jam together and, do some cutting up in the band room, or like I'll write a lick or he'll write a lick and we'll send it to one another and all that. And so, so going back to your question, that's it's just not only is it a lot more fun to have somebody you genuinely enjoy playing with added to the mix, but what he offers is something we never could have really accomplished as just Connor myself.
I was going to add to that and say, I think the biggest thing is he just broke us out of the pattern, like the shell. Our shell is being like the pattern. We were falling into patterns writing music where we would write a lot of really similar sounding stuff. Like all the patterns in our songs were starting to fall into being really similar. And it was like adding a person who has completely different ideas just helps. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, because that's what happened. Like, what you were talking about, that creative control. Like when you have full creative control, you go to where you're comfortable, right?
Yeah,
but when you have, when you have someone come in, they take you out of that comfort zone and say, hey, this could be better. And that's why I think even including your producer adds a whole other element too, because he's completely like, his investment is, I want this thing to sound amazing because this is part of my portfolio.
Yes.
And so he's going to make sure that you guys are also out of your comfort zone because he knows your capabilities, and that changes everything and it makes it amazing.
Yeah. And it took a little bit of, I think, what I would call maturing as musicians to be comfortable with letting someone have a little input, like our producer, for example. Like whenever we first started working together, it was like he would make a suggestion and we'd be like, nope, this is the way we want it. Don't change it. Nope. And now it's like, okay, we've been working with him for like 8 or 10 years now. And it's like, okay, we can trust this guy. He has our best interests. Like, and every time he makes a suggestion, like 9.9 times out of 10, it's for the better.
Well.
It's it always works out. We're like, okay, well, we're not gonna fight this because it sounds good.
That's a funny thing to mention that Connor had said of us going through him for 8 to 10 years. Our producer Eric, he was the one that recorded the first No Regret song that we had back in high school.
Oh, snap!
So
okay,
we've been going through him. So it's been interesting, us growing as musicians, but also seeing him grow as a producer and an audio engineer. Because he is absolutely amazing for one, and just about anything he does in general. But and so as Connor was saying, any type of input that he added, especially to liminal space, it was just like, wow, I never would have thought of that. That's incredible. I never would have thought about putting that melody here or plugging this in here or adding this here. And just following up with what Connor said.